Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Ron here again, and this video is for the new owner of the 963 track loader, but with a RTR version, so you won't have to do any type of mixing on this or anything. It's set up already, ready to run when you get it. It will be coming with the Venom 5000 milliamp 6-volt humpback. Your charge rate on this, as it's setting right now, is your charge rate on this right now, it's all at 6.5. 6.6 is a fully charged 6-volt battery. So when it comes out of the box, it will be ready to run. All you have to do is take your transmitter, set it to the side. So when you get this unit right out of the box, it'll be ready to run. All you have to do is put your hand on the unit like this. You can grab this by the top. It's anchored in by screws around there, but I never grab my models by the top. I always gingerly hold them from the bottom. So when you get ready to put the battery in the unit, all you gotta do is put your hand on here, slightly squeeze on the back here, and this pops off. Kind of an upward motion, pull off. As you see inside here, there's a 9-volt battery. That 9-volt battery separately runs your RC four-wheel drive driving lights right there on the front of the cab, and shut that off. There are two more switches located right here. Inside what you'll see here is 3 switches. The top one's your main switch. The red dot is off, green dot is on. The switch in the rear is your RC four-wheel drive driving lights. They are on right now because the green dot, you flip them and they go off. This is your driving lights for your top of your cab, interior cab, and rear tail lights. You flip them on and they'll go on. The only time they'll go on is if the main power is on. That way you could run them on like that, or you could shut them off and the main power is still on. But when you shut the main power off, it shuts the circuit off for that one as well. Here inside the cab, one's main power and the second one is to run all your lights on your system that is running off of your receiver, and you could shut them off through that switch. I do it like that to save on open channels in case I'm always was modifying and changing stuff around, so I'd have open channels. You see a 9-volt, that's to replace if you ever need it to for those driver lights. This little switch right here, I'll explain that in a second, but as for right now, this is your battery connection. Your battery will set as so, just like that. You connect it and you're good to go. I just kind of tucked that right there. Now I'll come over here and turn my transmitter on. It's automatically set up as your 963. All your switches need to be in an upward position. Your throttle stick needs to be down. Your throttle controls your lift. Same way with your rudder controls your bucket curl. The right stick up and down controls your forward and backwards, and left and right, and vice versa. This side of your transmitter is mixed for you already. Go ahead and turn on the unit by flipping this top switch right here, and it turns on the unit. Now, if you want to go through and switch your strobe lights, it's your SWB switch that will switch your strobe lights around to different units. And I'll shut them off for now. This unit has a 2645 continuous rotation high-tech servos in it, so there is no creeping adjustments as far as centering out your servos. It's up and running right when you get it, so you don't have to worry about adjusting those servos for sub-trims. Now let's go back to this little button here. Sorry about that. That was a 3D printer going off for some customer. So we'll go ahead and turn on this second switch right here closest to the outside. That controls your lights for your cab and tail lights. Now if you want to get fancy over here, this is an RC four-wheel drive multi-unit switch. I could switch out, if you could see that, switch out the LED so it starts blinking for your rear tail lights. So you can have more of a hazard going, and then I could turn that on again, and then you could do different things, program it how you want. And that way your taillights will blink. You could even shut those guys off. I think if you go through like 9 settings, and you could shut them off If you want, I'll go ahead and shut these strobe lights off again. Okay. So that's it. Now to get the units back in order, to get the backside on it, all you do is push it next to the body up right. There's two little clips here. They lock inside this body panel. All you gotta do is hold again the cab, slightly squeeze, and what you do is just and then slide down, and you're good to go. It might take you a little bit of practice, get used to that motion. It's just going to squeeze up, squeeze down, and locks in, locks out. When you lift the bucket up, all you do is adjust. You could go down, it will settle, it'll go up and settle, and then your bucket curl is full right, the dump is full left, you know, vice versa. It will center back out on you. Now to open your 4-in-1 bucket, you just take this dial here and open that to whatever liking you want it at. Now this is set up on a this dial here was set and hold. These servos are not 360'd, so you don't have to worry about the sub trims on them either. They're two high-tech MG85 servos. But what you do not want to do is, I explained to you in an email, is you could clamp onto things, but you only want to clamp onto something just enough to grab it. You don't want to bear down on it and watch that thing shake. If I could show you something here real quick, I'll explain it. Here's how to use the 4-in-1 bucket. It's more of a pressure grab, not a squeeze grab. You'll just end up damaging your servos that run that bucket. You just come in here like this. You'll just open that bucket. You'll come down. Oh, it's starting to roll on me. So I'll come down and just slightly close that, just enough to grab that. Now, if you hear that humming noise, my 3D printer's going right now, but if you hear that humming noise, it's because you're putting too much force on those servos, so you just back it down. And you want to get it to not hum, because you're just forcing them servos. What it's trying to do right now is squeeze that tape, and you'll just burn your servos out. And then to release something, you just go like that and it pops loose. And mostly, I mean, yeah, if you got some skills, you know, I could play around with it and grab things, but I know how much force to use, so you do not burn up them servos. I would not want to burn up them servos if I were you. It's kind of a cool thing. So, I mean, what makes this 4-in-1 bucket really nice is you could get the height you need, and then you could, instead of rolling your bucket down to dump it into stuff, you can just pretty much open it, and the material will fall out. So it saves you the distance of curling, which then you lose height as far as when you curl. They are plastic tracks. They're again with the cleats I designed, which are the best out there. They are not glued in there, and they will not come out. You have to literally know what you're doing to take them out. The plastic tracks will stretch over time. Over time, they say to remove one of those links, or, you know, you could buy new tracks for it. Let me shut this switch off. That'll shut my lights off as well. But there's not a whole lot to say with this one, because it is ready to run right off the bat. If you ever need to get into the cab, underneath, you take 2 screws out on either side, or screw through some tongues. There's a screw here you need to take off, and there's a screw right there, and there's 1, 2, 3, there's 8 screws in total, and that cab will slide and pop right off. And right underneath it is your receiver for your fly sky here. This fly sky, for some reason, will not bind with the other fly sky receivers I got for the truck you're interested in. Right now it's just saying I haven't used the... So I want to show you how to do the forks, and what I'll do is probably not disconnect this bucket right now, but I'll show you how simple the forks are to put on. I'll take the camera off the mount and just show you real quickly. So this is your fork plate, and this is your forks for your 963. To remove them, simply come in here. Right back here, there's 3 pins. Well, there's actually 2 on here. There's this pin, And opposite side, there's that pin. This one is locked into your stock bucket. What you do is put your finger underneath it and pop up, and it will come loose from that factory pin. You just go in there and pull up and it will pop. There is a servo lead running into a dual port for other options I was planning on putting on this, but all you gotta do is pull this out and pull that wire right through there, and the bucket pulls off. And then from there, the forks go right in place with the 3 arms. The pins, I'll make you some new pins. There's 2 pins. There's a 3rd pin that runs through here, and then there again, the stock curl arm hooks right in there. So the pin will run right through that stock arm, and it will lock right back in place. Other than that, that should be it. It's an awesome unit, but that's how I build. If you've got any questions, shoot me an email, but this is a cool unit that you got. I wouldn't overuse that 4-in-1 bucket. You could always replace that bucket with just the stock bucket, or just run it like that, or you could simply open this bucket if you want and run that down, and you could run it as a dozer too and push some dirt around and close that bucket. Just remember not to over force anything into if you're grappling stuff. I just do it for fun because I know what the machine can take. But if you're new to the unit and new to the whole conversion world, I would not recommend over cranking on your servos like that, because you can and will burn them out. Well, that's another one by That's My RC. Going to a new home. Thanks a lot.